With that, we will move on to the next bill on our agenda, which is House File 1163. Representative Winkler, this is your bill. I will move that House File 1163 be recommended to be referred to the Transportation Finance Committee. Please go ahead and tell us about your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. House File 1163 is the Driver's Licenses for All Act, the driver's license bill that makes sure that communities across Minnesota have greater public safety, a stronger economy, and a better life for immigrants and people throughout our communities. This bill has been passed in the Minnesota Senate twice. It has passed the Minnesota House at least once in 2019. It is currently the law in 15 states. The record of success with this bill for our roads is clear. In California and Connecticut, they saw significant decreases in hit and run accidents after this passed. In Utah and New Mexico saw a huge drop, 20 to 24% drop in people driving without auto insurance after they passed this bill. This bill allows people to get to work. It allows families to get to childcare and activities. It allows kids to get to school, and it allows workers to stay better connected to the workplace. As of 2018, there were 30,000 children in Minnesota whose parents were with at least one parent who was undocumented. And 68% of undocumented immigrants in Minnesota have frontline jobs. So we are talking about families with children. We are talking about people who are doing essential work. We are talking about a bill that will increase public safety by making our roads safer. You only get a driver's license if you can pass the test and you have insurance. And the bill is supported by a wide range of organizations and individuals. We're going to hear from Archbishop Hebda. We're going to hear from a police officer from St. Paul. We are going to hear from the milk producers. You have a letter of support from the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. This bill has been a long time in coming. And members, I ask you to listen carefully to the testimony, listen carefully to understand why it matters so much to so many people. And I would ask you to consider voting in support of this bill today. We used to have this law in place. It used to be permissible to get a driver's license without proving your immigration status. That changed in 2003, and we have been leaving Minnesota communities behind for a long time, and it's time to right that wrong. I ask for your vote today.
Thank you, Representative Winkler. We have a lot of testifiers on the agenda this morning, so we're going to get right to testimony. I will just remind all the testifiers that we only have 2 minutes apiece, and it's not personal, but I will have to cut you off so that there's time for member discussion afterwards. First on the list is Lucas Sjostrom. If you could introduce yourself for the committee and go ahead with your testimony.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Becker-Finn. For the record, my name is Lucas Sjostrom. I'm the Executive Director at the Minnesota Milk Producers Association, a member of the Minnesota Agri-Growth Council. I'm also a partner in my family's dairy farm and cheese operation. Both Minnesota Milk and Agri-Growth are founding members of the Movement for Driver's Licenses for All. Minnesota and our agriculture and food employers have a labor shortage. Many jobs require high skills, and many others are entry-level jobs that require hard work. Our Minnesota economy relies on immigrant labor to fill many of these jobs. One thing you often hear in the debate over how to better accommodate workers through education, immigration visas, and accommodations to get people into employment is whether we want people with low skills or high skills. I'm here to tell you today that Minnesota dairy farmers and many other employers in agriculture in Minnesota employ people with a very high skill, hard work. These employees are also willing to and want to put in the effort to study, practice, and pass a driver's license test, as well as pay money for insurance. But today, some of them cannot do that. That limits skills from being acquired, commerce from being transacted, and a higher level of safety from being realized. We want our families and employees to be safe and able to travel our state, whether to home, school, or work. That goal may be only achieved when every driver learned and passed driver safety training. Without opportunity, expectation is not achievable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sjostrom. Next on the list is Archbishop Hebda. Archbishop, if you could introduce yourself and go ahead with your testimony.
Chair Becker-Finn and members of the committee, good morning. My name is Bernard Hebda. I'm the Archbishop of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of St. Paul, Minneapolis. And I joined the meeting today to speak on behalf of the Minnesota Catholic Conference in support of House File 1163. Thank you, Representative Winkler and the other bill authors who have reintroduced this urgently needed remedy for the approximately 90,000 undocumented people in our state. Allowing undocumented persons to obtain provisional driver's licenses serves the common good in several ways. Most importantly, public safety is promoted by having more licensed drivers on the road, who studies have shown are less likely to be involved in fatal accidents and also are more likely to be insured. One objection to this legislation is that it will reward law breaking and undermine respect for the rule of law. Let me address that objection head on. Almost everyone acknowledges that we have a broken immigration system that needs fixing. Sadly, Congress has not passed comprehensive reform legislation. We cannot wait. Minnesota needs to act now to limit the threat that a traffic stop will upend lives and families of our friends and neighbors. Our immigrant brothers and sisters deserve to live with dignity, not in fear of being separated from their families every time they need to drive somewhere. Too often we let secondary relationships define our identities and how we treat others. We may see ourselves as American citizens and immigrants as illegals or aliens. How unfortunate if those labels limit the reach of our solidarity. Instead, we must first identify ourselves as brothers and sisters, all children of the same God, each possessing the dignity of being created in his image and likeness. It is unthinkable that there would be borders in his kingdom, nor should there be borders around our hearts. This bill is one of the most important things we can do for our immigrant brothers and sisters here in Minnesota. Immigrants are here to stay and will continue to drive to meet their needs. Let us both make everyone safer and help the strangers in our midst so that perhaps they can become strangers to us no longer. Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
Thank you very much, Archbishop. Next is Gregory McNamara. If you want to introduce yourself and please go ahead with your testimony.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
My name is Dr. Greg McNamara. I'm a family physician in Little Falls, Minnesota. I also volunteer to see undocumented workers in Waite Park through a grant from Centricare at St. Joseph's Parish. The vast majority of the patients that I see work at local farms. They do the work that no one else wants to do. I know this because I also take care of multiple farm families who hire these people. These people need a mode of transportation, and without a driver's license, that is impossible. They are forced to drive illegally to even get groceries. There is no mode of public transportation. This has led to a fear, as the bishop has stated, of law enforcement, and it's gotten to the point now where they're even afraid to drive to the doctor's office. I have been seeing patients from Little Falls at the free clinic in Waite Park because of this fear. One patient in particular recently was not taking his medication for several months because of this fear about coming back into our clinic. If you think about what could happen to people like that, the delayed medical care that they would require could end with disastrous results. And economically, it would be very difficult for the medical system because they have no insurance to pay for that type of care. I realize that these people are here illegally because of our broken immigration policies, but the fact of the matter is they're not going anywhere. They are also an integral part of our local economy and an integral part of our farm industry. And to be perfectly honest, why should they be able to drive a car without paying for a license? That affects us all economically. These people deserve to be allowed to have a driver's license in order to perform these essential jobs and get the medical care they need. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. McNamara. Next on the list is Commander Pam Berrigan. Commander, if you could introduce yourself and go ahead with your testimony.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Pamela Berrigan, and I'm a St. Paul Police Commander with the Community Partnerships Unit. I have worked in law enforcement for 25 years, and I have been in this country for 30 years. My unit's mission is to intentionally be the bridge between our racially and ethnically diverse communities and the police department. We need to be in partnership with our residents to ensure everyone is safe. Therefore, in behalf of the St. Paul Police Department, I'm here to testify in support of this bill. Granting driver's license to immigrants could improve road safety and accountability. Individuals are typically required to complete a driver's education class, pass a driving test, and take a behind-the-wheel driving test before obtaining a license. During this time, the person learns to properly operate the vehicle, to interpret various traffic signs, and the rules of the road that make driving a safety activity. Knowledge of driving laws and practices can contribute to highway safety. Allowing all residents to obtain a license or state ID would promote public safety. Law enforcement officers may use driver's license or state IDs to identify the individuals they encounter. This can eliminate the need for officers to handle other identification documents, which may not be easily available or may not be in English. Law enforcement officials have the critical task of investigating crimes, responding to emergencies, and keeping communities safe. A state-issued identification document would help officers to be more efficient. In addition, these cards can be helpful to first responders in identifying people needing emergency medical assistance. These are real reasons that impact many lives. We as a collective have the responsibility to ensure public safety and financial responsibility by licensing and insuring as many drivers as possible. I urge you to pass House File 1163. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Next up is Julia Decker. Please introduce yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Madam Chair, members. My name is Julia Decker. I'm the Policy Director for the ACLU of Minnesota. As many of you on this committee know, often through working with us on these issues, the ACLU of Minnesota is a strong advocate for data privacy and data protections. And while the context of this bill is driver's licenses instead of student data or information collected by drones, in line with those same principles, we at the ACLU do support the data protections included in House File 1163. People who would gain access to a driver's license or ID card through this bill, but do not have proof of citizenship or lawful presence, are more likely to be people who are already marginalized. Not every Minnesotan who is a citizen necessarily possesses proof of citizenship or lawful presence. People with low income, people facing homelessness or unstable housing situations, victims of domestic violence or trafficking may not have the means or ability to access these vital documents. In addition, non-citizens may not have proof of citizenship or lawful presence for a number of reasons. Many applications for immigration status or even renewal of an immigration status can take months to fully be processed, and this can easily leave a non-citizen without that paper proof of their lawful presence. The data protections in this bill will encourage more Minnesotans, citizen and non-citizen alike, to go through the licensing process. And all Minnesotans will benefit from increased public safety if more drivers are licensed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Decker, and thank you for speaking to the data provisions. Next up is Irina Mosetazuma. If you could introduce yourself, I understand we might have an interpreter assisting as well.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Irina Moctezuma. Vivo en la ciudad de Lisur por casi 17 años. Viajo todos los días a San Peter a mi trabajo. Yo, ya que soy manager de una tienda mexicana, se llama La Mexicana Market de San Peter, por 7 años trabajando ahí. Es difícil para mí no tener una licencia de conducir, ya que la necesito para ir a trabajar. El precio de la aseguranza es muy alto cuando tengo registrado mi auto con mi matrícula consular y no licencia de Minnesota. Soy madre soltera con 2 hijos y el alto costo de la aseguranza desbalanza mis finanzas. Si yo tuviera la licencia de manejo, no tendría que preguntar de alguien más para asegurar mi auto. He comparado los precios de las aseguranzas con los miembros de mi familia que tienen licencia de Minnesota y ellos pagan alrededor de $70 cuando yo pago el triple de más de $200 mensuales por no tener licencia. Hace unos 2 años viví una mala experiencia con un accidente que no fue mi culpa. Alguien me golpeó y como no estaba registrada en la aseguranza de familiar, no pude resolver nada. Se complicó todo el proceso y salí perdiendo. Necesito una licencia para conducir de forma segura en Minnesota y seguir siendo parte del crecimiento en lo económico de nuestra comunidad. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. And I understand Mr. Eifler may be translating for us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Ed Eifler Jaramillo. I'm here on behalf of COPAR, and I'll be translating for Irina Moctezuma, who is one of the 90,000 affected directly by the lack of driver's licenses. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Irina Moctezuma. I have lived in the city of Lesueur for almost 17 years. I travel to St. Peter every day to work, as I have been manager of La Mexicana Market in St. Peter for 7 years. It is difficult for me not to have a driver's license, as I needed to go to work and keep the business running. The price of insurance is very high when I have to register with a consular ID and not a Minnesota license. I am a single mother with 2 children, and the high cost of insurance throws my finances out of balance. If I had a driver's license, I wouldn't have to ask someone else to insure my car. I've compared the insurance prices with family members who are insured in Minnesota, and they pay $70 while I pay more than triple that amount, close to $200. About 2 years ago, I had a bad experience in an accident that was not my fault. Someone hit me, and since I was not registered with my family's insurance, I could not solve anything. The whole process was very complicated, and I lost. I need a license to drive safely in Minnesota and continue to be part of the economic growth of our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your assistance, Mr. Jaramillo. Next, we have Norm Nyi Vu. Please introduce yourself and go ahead with your testimony.
Ms. Chair.
Go ahead, please introduce yourself.
This is Tao Mei Shang. I'm going to repeat his name in case he didn't understand. Norm Ningyi Vu. You have to unmute yourself so we can hear you.
Okay, I'm there. You
yeah, please okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. I live in Forest Lake. I own multiple businesses in Broken Center. I came to the United States as an orphan. Both my parents died in the secret war in Laos. And I was the only surviving member of my immediate family. I arrived in Minnesota at the age of 20. I put myself through community college and got married with 5 children. Together with my wife and we start several small businesses and volunteer a lot in the community. Throughout my multiple business and community work, I interact with a lot of diverse people from diverse background people in Broken Park and Broken Center. There are a large number of Hmong, Lao, Vietnamese, Liberians, Nigerians, and Latino in this area. They are all my client, friends, and neighbors. I am sympathetic to their struggle since they do not have a driver license because they are undocumented and they can't travel, work, or participate in their children's life. I urge this community to support HF1163 bill, I urge this committee to support family unity, unification and family stability, allow parents to provide for their children. Please pass this bill and allow Minnesotans to be free and drive safely without fear. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. That wraps up the people we have on the list to testify today. I do want to thank all of you. I didn't have to remind anyone that their 2 minutes was up. So good job to everybody. And thank you very much for testifying. With that, we will move on to member discussion. I do want to remind members that we're going to try to focus on section 2 of the bill regarding, or Article 2 of the bill regarding data protection, since that is the jurisdiction of our committee, and this bill has several other steps along the way after us. I will also say we're going to stay focused on the bill. If there are concerns that individuals have with other individuals, those can happen offline, or I will need to just move on to somebody else. So first on the list, I have Representative Novotny.
Thank you, Chair Becker-Finn, and the questions for the author. I was just wondering if you could clarify, in past versions of the bill and past sessions, there's been an identification of placed on the card, just like we do for persons that aren't supposed to use drugs or alcohol, or firearms endorsements, or before adults are able to legally drive, or before kids turn 18. There's provisional things placed on the driver's license for identification. So could the author clarify, is there an identification placed on the card that identifies the person with the driver's license as a non-resident? And yes, thank you for bringing this bill forward, Representative Winkler. And I'd just like to say, my grandmother used to say the only weapon that gets sharper with use is the tongue, and now I believe it's Twitter. And thank you for reminding me why I don't use Twitter.
Yep. Representative Winkler, to the actual question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Novotny, the version of the bill that we brought forward to final passage in 2019 did include that identifier. And I think that I am open to amending the bill to put together the bipartisan support that we need, especially in the Senate, to move this through and become law. But when we're starting out the process from the beginning, again, we are starting the bill from the place where we think it is best, which is as drafted currently. So I'm open to those conversations to figure out how to improve it. If you are interested in engaging on that, and that's something that we could work on and get your support on the bill, I'm very much open to that. And so there isn't a need to have that marker on there. This is not a real ID. It's only a driving card, just like a regular driver's license that anybody else would have is. You can't use it to get on an airplane. You can't use it for federal purposes or anything else. So there is already those limitations built into the bill. Adding those markers on it doesn't add anything to the security or the protections built into proving who you are or your identity. So it was kind of a comfort language or a sort of thing, I guess, in order to build bipartisan support last year. And we wanted to start the bill where we think it's best policy and then amend it if we need to.
Thank you. Any follow-up, Representative Novotny?
Yes, thank you, Chair Becker-Finn. Representative Winkler, as someone who in 33 years in law enforcement, we do have a migrant community that comes through for our large potato field area, involved in numerous investigations where undocumented workers were, in most of the cases, victims. So having some form of identification to help even with the language barrier in dealing with those victims, yes, it would have been nice to have some documented form of identification. I just am torn by the fact that they aren't identified on the licenses, as that's what it is. So thank you.
All right. Next on the list is Representative Scott to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so my understanding then, Representative Winkler, is that their driver's license is going to look exactly like mine because I did not get a real ID compliant driver's license. So their driver's license will look exactly like mine. Is that right?
Representative Winkler.
Madam Chair, Representative Scott, yes, that is my understanding based on your question. It would be a regular Class D driver's license.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so Representative Winkler, what's to prevent someone that's here illegally and obtains a driver's license that looks just like mine from using it to vote?
Representative Winkler.
Madam Chair, Representative Scott, first of all, picture ID is not required to vote currently. To vote without being a U.S. citizen is a felony. And we have voting records in which people have to establish their citizenship in order to be able to register to vote in the first place. So having this ID would be of no use in obtaining the right to vote through getting registered and casting a ballot.
Madam Chair.
Representative Scott.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Winkler, but a person can apply for an absentee ballot or to vote by mail, and all they have to do is show a driver's license. And this would allow them to do that. So do you have any concerns that could happen?
Representative Winkler.
Madam Chair, Representative Scott, you don't just need a driver's license to get an absentee ballot. You also need to swear that you are a U.S. citizen and you have your data checked after the fact by the Secretary of State or the county, in many cases both. So I don't see any possible basis for using a driving, think of this as like a driving card, not the key to identity in every walk of life in Minnesota. This is just the ability to gain access legally to the roadway. And so there's really no way to use this in order to create a place in the voting registration system that would allow you to even get an absentee ballot.
Madam Chair.
Follow up, Representative Scott, and we have a couple other hands up.
I understand. This is my final question. I'm trying to get to the section that applies to our committee today. There's no mechanism for the Secretary of State in this bill because they cannot share someone's legal status in this country with outside government entities. There's no way that the Secretary of State would be able to verify or not whether this person is in our country legally, according to what the language that I see in this bill. So that's my concern here. And if the bill's author wants to emphasize and wants to protect these folks from going forward to vote, to prevent them from voting illegally, which he stated is a felony, then to me there should be some marking on this driver's license that alerts the election authorities that these people are ineligible to vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Response, Representative Winkler.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Representative Scott, I think this gets a little bit into the conversation we started with Representative Novotny about having some kind of marker on the driver's license. Again, I don't think it is the best policy to do it that way. And I think we risk the possibility of essentially, marking people out for discrimination potentially in our communities. But this driver's license bill is very, very important to a lot of people. And so I'm willing to enter into those conversations to build bipartisan support because it is helpful to so many people in so many parts of Minnesota.
Thank you. Next on the list is Representative Feist.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I like it when I can bring my immigration lawyer expertise. Ooh, I just raised my hand again by mistake. Try this again. So I just wanted to make 2 points just from the perspective of an immigration attorney. I think that the testifiers have discussed the importance of this to public safety, making sure that people who are already on our roads are trained and insured for all of our safety. But as an immigration lawyer, I would just like to point out that immigration law is dumb. And there are a lot of people who should be eligible for legal status who aren't able to get to the end of the process due to the way our laws are structured. We created a problem in 1996, a temporary solution in 1998, and that sunsetted in 2001. And ever since then, we have this issue with people being basically stuck inside the country. So I would just like to point out that we're talking about a lot of people who are parents and spouses of US citizens and permanent residents, and allowing them to have access to a license would ensure that they can take care of their family's healthcare, educational needs, and just allow their family to live a full life here in Minnesota, where they are already living. And the other point I just wanted to make to Representative Scott's concerns, false claims to US citizenship under immigration law are actually worse than most serious crimes. There is no way to get out of being deported if you made a false claim to US citizenship, and that is interpreted incredibly broadly. And the immigrant communities that I've worked with over the last 20 years very much know that. So, in theory, maybe there are immigrants out there who could theoretically want to vote, but I can tell you that this is something that everyone takes very seriously and knows that it is worse to vote illegally than it would be to commit like many serious crimes. So I just wanted to point that out as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Feist, for sharing your expertise with us. Next on the list is Representative Johnson.
Chair Becker-Finn, Majority Leader Winkler, thank you for bringing this forward. I do have a few problems with this bill. One is the voting issue, because you actually do need an ID to vote in early voting in person. They do require an ID to verify that where you live. But that's not why I'm bringing up today. And I was just wondering if I heard you correctly, Representative Winkler, that law enforcement does not, and other agencies do not have access to the immigration status on this unidentified driver's license?
Representative Winkler.
Madam Chair, Representative Johnson, I don't know that I actually discussed that yet, but yes, that is correct. The point here is that the data has to be kept private, or people will have a concern that if they apply for a driver's license, they will be effectively alerting ICE of their status and where they live, and therefore people won't come forward to get a driver's license. They won't get insurance. They won't pass the test if we don't have that protection in the bill.
Representative Johnson.
Thank you, Representative Winkler. That brings up a major concern I have. I am a strong advocate for the Second Amendment, and I don't have many problems with the constitutional carry as well. As long as you're in this country legally and you can legally own a firearm and possess a firearm. But I have both the permit to acquire and permit to carry applications out in front of me at this time. And for identification purposes, to obtain a permit to acquire or for a permit to carry, you need a Minnesota driver's license or state ID number to get this form. And one of the disqualifications for possessing or purchasing a firearm in the United States is if you are not here legally, it is unlawful for you to purchase or carry a firearm. Now, the sheriff's offices and the police departments that handle these forms, you have just said, are not going to have access to the legal status of an individual. And in the NICS checks and the other background checks they do not have access to that information either. So you're setting up a situation where a person who's already broke the law by coming into this country illegally has no problem signing a form that says they're not here legally, giving them a legal identification that is not marked in any way that they are not here in this country legally with the state identification card. That has great concern to me, and just for that reason alone, I cannot support this bill. Thank you.
Any response, Representative Winkler?
Madam Chair, Representative Johnson, it doesn't sound to me like changing the marking on the ID would necessarily get your vote. But as I said to Representative Scott and Representative Novotny, I am willing to work on that issue. I also want to point out that it is not a criminal act to be in the United States without lawful status. That is not the same kind of crime as professing to have a legal right to acquire a firearm and not, in fact, having that right. So I'm afraid that I don't like the characterization of people who are here without status as being people who entered illegally or committed with the implication that they committed some kind of crime and are therefore willing or likely to commit other crimes. That is simply not the reality of what lacking status is in our immigration system today.
I do say that one of our testifiers, Ms. Decker from the ACLU, may have some information for us. So please go ahead, Ms. Decker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to the point about the accessing the data, the way the bill is written, it's actually the data that would be accessed is just whether the proof of citizenship or lawful presence was provided, which actually doesn't go to necessarily to a question of immigration status. It's simply that a person did not have, at the time that they applied, didn't have a particular document showing citizenship or lawful presence. And as I stated in my earlier testimony, those could be people that for any variety of reasons did not at that particular time have that proof of presence. But that does not necessarily translate to any particular immigration status.
Thank you, Ms. Decker. Follow-up, Representative Johnson?
Yes. If a person is here legally, they can obtain a driver's license. It's called an international driver's license. A lot of people don't know about it, but if they're in this country legally and they had a driver's license where they were, they can obtain an international driver's license.
Okay. Representative Feist, real quick, and then we're going to move to the vote.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to follow up on Representative Winkler's comment that people who are here legally also have trouble a lot of times getting driver's license. It can be so complicated what you need to prove your legal status. And I have so many clients over the years in Minnesota and everywhere who struggle to get a driver's license that they're actually totally entitled to. So this bill would help them as well. And a lot of those people are medical researchers just due to the very specific nature of their type of documentation. So this would be great for those folks as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Representative Winkler, final comments.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I appreciate the conversation. I am very much willing to work with anyone who is willing to work with me and with this amazing coalition of immigrants and people in communities around Minnesota who are standing up and working so hard, so diligently, and have done so for so long to get access, legal access to the roadway, to pass a driver's test, buy insurance, and be able to drive their kids to a doctor's appointment. These are very simple things. We all benefit from the immigrants in our communities, whether they are documented or undocumented. As I said at the beginning, 68% of them performing in frontline occupations. We need these people in Minnesota. We count on them, we benefit from them, and then at the same time, we take these communities and say, you're not able to get access to something so basic as a driver's license. It doesn't make us safer, it doesn't make our economy stronger, and it doesn't make our state a better place for anyone to live in. So we really need to right this wrong. And I appreciate the committee's time and would ask for your support today.
All right. Thank you, Representative Winkler, and thank you again to all the testifiers. I will renew my motion that House File 1163 be recommended to be re-referred to the Transportation Finance Committee. The clerk will take the roll.
Rebecca Finn.
Aye.
Representative Mueller.
Aye.
Representative Scott.
No.
Representative Feist.
Aye.
Representative Frazier.
Aye.
Representative Grossels excused. Representative Herr.
Aye.
Representative Hollins.
Aye.
Representative Johnson.
No.
Representative Liebling.
Aye.
Representative Long.
Aye.
Representative Mortensen's excused. Representative Novotny.
No.
Representative Farr.
No.
Representative Robbins.
No.
Representative Fang.
Aye.
Representative Zhang.
Aye.
Perfect. There's 10 ayes and 5 nays.
All right, with 10 ayes and 5 nays, the motion prevails and House File 1163 is on its way to the Transportation Finance Committee. Thank you, Representative Winkler, and all of our testifiers.